Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I want to offer my opinion just and react to a recent video that I saw. Might have been yesterday or the day before. As I always say, is if it has something to do with what I talk about on this channel and on the blog, and it's something I definitely have to cover. I was actually in the middle of putting together another video when this video came across my feed. I'm like, okay, I have to talk about this. So, the name of today's video, actor David Júnior says Brazil's racist rejection of kinky curly hair made him shave his head for 26 years. I made a lot of excuses for not letting my hair grow. So definitely something I want to talk about here. So I want to get directly into the video, but before I do, just make sure that you like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell because more videos will be coming after this one. With that said, let's get into this topic for today because there's so many things that I need to unpack just from the video itself, the actor himself, the reactions that people had to this video. So let's just get right into this. So this is actor David Júnior. A lot of things that have to do with this video are, the particular video that he did, what he commented on his video, the description of his video, how people reacted, his past as an actor, uh, relationships, the politics of kinky curly hair. Just there's a lot going on in this short clip. I think the clip might be about a minute and a half long. I'm going to get to that, but to give this context, as I always like to do, here are some of the topics that I want to discuss. Brazil's rejection of cabelo crespo, kinky curly hair. It's always wherever Black people go in the world, they're always rejected. We always get demonized. We always face a certain discrimination because of our skin color, our facial features, and the texture of our hair. It's like wherever you go, and there's a multiracial society where there are Black people are a large percentage or a small percentage, we're gonna get this. How can we say? People, we'll definitely not be considered the standard of beauty in whatever country that we're in, and this is all goes back to again the 400 or 500 year experiment in the West with slavery, right? I want to talk about, well, this video has to do with the Black Brazilians Orgulho de Cabelo Crespo movement, the pride of having kinky curly hair. And as I said, I acknowledge that Black Brazilian women are largely responsible for this. I was in Sao Paulo when I saw this acceptance of what they call Cabelo Crespo, kinky curly hair. Just tens of thousands of Black women stopped straightening their hair. They stopped wearing weaves. They were wearing big, large, fluffy, curly afros in the streets, and Black women demanding that society respect their natural hair led Black men to want to accept their hair as well. So Black men, a lot of Black men who had never even remember seeing the texture of their hair, they had been cutting it short for so long. Suddenly, Black men started growing their hair out. If Black women were straightening their hair and wearing weaves and hair accessories, Black men were cutting their hair as close to bald as they could get. So as I said, Black Brazilian men, they followed the lead of Black Brazilian women. This speaks of the larger Black pride, Black consciousness movement in Brazil that's taken years, decades to foster. I think it's come a long ways. A lot of Black Americans often say like, Black Brazil is 40 years behind where Black Americans are, but I would say that because of social networks made it possible for African American or Black Afro Brazilians, will say, to advance in their cause in perhaps 10 years. Without the internet, I think this would have took another 40 to 50 years, to be honest, the way that things were going. This talks about what we call the corpo negro, the Black body. Now, I just did a video a couple of weeks ago with another actor, Rafael Zulu. And he was talking about how I think he was speaking specifically on white women, how in his experience, white women would not take him home to the family. Like, the Black body is good to have a night, to have fun, whatever, just have, a hidden romance or something like that. But in terms of bringing them home and present, this is going to be my husband. It was just something that he ran into that says that, most white women and white families don't want to do that. Of course, people laughed at him because it was like, how are you complaining about this? It seemed that it was obvious that, he it seemed like his goal was to marry a white woman, which he eventually did. So this harks back to that video. You can definitely check that video out when you get a chance, because all of the videos that I do, they always have, I like to line up, other videos before I do the new video just to give it context. And I'm going to refer back to those videos because, like, the video today that I'm doing now refers to a lot of other stuff that I've done in previous videos and previous articles. Again, go to blackbraziltoday.com, about 3,800 articles over there. Okay, this whole thing of the acceptance and rejection of black hair. David Júnior, he said, he wrote in his post that he shaved his head for 26 years because Brazilian society rejected, cabelo crespo, kinky curly hair. And so there's a lot of Afro-Brazilian men who share that same story. There's men who talked about, wow, I didn't even know what the texture of my hair looked like because I had been shaving it short for so long, right? Then this connection to what we call palmitaging. Now, again, for those of you not familiar, if you followed this channel for any amount of time or the blog, you know that palmitaging is a term that specifically Black Brazilian women came up with to describe Black men who they saw seemed like they had a predilection to want to form long-term relationships and families with just white women. They would date kind of in secret. They would have, what they call ficar. They would, get with a woman to spend the night, but then not want to be seen with her publicly. So then this question of palmitaging comes out in this video as well. I'm going to have to talk about that a little bit more. So with that said, first let's talk about who is David Júnior. David or David Júnior. He's an actor from Nova Iguaçu, which is located in the state of Rio de Janeiro. He began his professional acting career by taking bit roles in a few novellas, which is what Brazilians call soap operas. His breakout role would come in the 2016 global TV novella Liberdade, Liberdade, which means freedom, freedom. It's a soap opera that was based in Brazil's slave era. As I've said numerous times in past posts and videos, Brazil's media seems to have some sort of obsession with setting novellas in the country's 300-year history of slavery. Over the years, there have been countless Brazilian soap operas based in the slave era. I think I've already did a video about that. Definitely some stuff on the blog about that. This is a scene with from Liberdade, Liberdade with David Júnior and actress Luanda Eloísa. There's a scene from the novella. 2016, they're still showing slavery, right? To me, this practice probably has the objective of maintaining the image of Black Brazilians in the slave past and thus influencing the society to continue seeing persons of African descent as inferiors in the nation's racial hierarchy. At the time of the showing of Liberdade, Liberdade on global TV, one of the country's other top TV networks, Rede Record, or the Record Television Network, was also showing its own novella set in the slavery era. It was called Escrava Mãe, like slave mother, mother slave. I was amazed at that. At the same time, in 2016, two of Brazil's top television networks were showing their soap operas that were based in the slave era. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about here is, what do these images tell us? As I just said, the idea of keeping the Black Brazilian in their place in the minds, in the imagery of the society, to always connect the Black Brazilians with slavery. So playing the slave Saviano, David Júnior garnered public attention for his role in the novella, but perhaps just because of his performance as an actor. In a now notorious scene, the actor showed off his man butt in a nude scene as his owner, Dionisia, exploited him in every manner, including sexually. The scene reminded me of the 1970s American film Mandingo, which portrayed boxer Kenny Norton in a similar scene. You be the judge. Am I tripping? Let's look at this. So here we have a scene from Mandingo. Of course, I had to blur out the man butt that's going on right here. You have the white woman who is the wife of the slave owner who owns this slave. She's undressing her black buck, right? So that's what we see in Mandingo. Let me see. Scene from Mandingo, white woman prepares to exploit her black slave, man butt showing. In 2016, a white woman prepares to exploit her black slave. This one in Brazil, man butt showing, right? Of course, I had to cover up the prominent display of man butt to appease the YouTube censors, but for those who just want to see black man butt, the unedited images are readily available online. So again, Mandingo, I think 1974, with Mandingo, played by boxer Kenny Norton, being undressed by one of his owners, right? 2016 Brazil, similar scene, the Liberdade. White, the white female owner, takes advantage of her slave, her black buck slave, sexually. So I don't know. Two scenes look pretty similar to me. Let's see here. Okay, this is David as another slave in the novella O Tempo No Para, right? So I don't know all of his roles, but we know now that he's played at least in two novellas where he portrayed a slave. Anyway, David Júnior has gone on to play roles in other novellas since then, such as Pega Pega in 2017, and then another role as a slave in the 2018 soap opera O Tempo No Para. Again, that's what this picture's from. In total, David has appeared in more than 10 novellas and TV series since his debut in 2011. The actor has also appeared in 2 films. Anyway, I would say that David Júnior fits very well into the category of B-list actors, as many Brazilians would probably recognize him as an actor, but probably not know his name. This is a still from the song. Now, when I get to the video where he's shaving his head, I just want to give this a little bit of context. I think it was about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. An online cartoon debuted that was called Hora do Blec, which means, Black's time. Let me see. Today, I want to discuss a video he recently posted on his IG account. In the short video, David is shown shaving his head bald to the sound of the song Cabelo Lindo, which means beautiful hair, from the online cartoon Hora do Blec. In the cartoon, it is actually David who lends his voice to the Black character. They spell it Blackie. So they call the character Blackie, right? It's, it started off, I can't remember what year it came out. Might have been about 2008, somewhere between 2017 and 2019. I'm going to talk about this. I have a post on this. And the objective of the cartoon, because you don't have Black-oriented cartoons in Brazil. A lot of the cartoons that they show are just imports from the United States. So all of the popular cartoons that you grew up watching in the United States, you'll see them in Brazil being showed with Portuguese overdubs. But this was a cartoon that was created and it's on YouTube now. I remember covering it. Just talking about the lack of Black representation. And like I said, Black representation in Brazil's media has grown exponentially in the last decade. And the cartoon looks like it's pretty successful. At last count, I thought I saw it had 84,000 subscribers, a number of videos. There's some really cool music that goes along with it. So David Júnior participates in that as well. So the song that's playing in the background of the video that he posted on Instagram is actually from this cartoon. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the future. Well, in a few minutes. The Hora do Blec project was developed by David Júnior and his wife, also actress Yasmin Garcés, having the support of the United Nations Development Program. It's funny because David's marriage and wife would later come up when people saw the video he recently posted. So these are just some pictures from the still of him shaving his head. He's got like some dreaded, locks going on here. David shown shaving his head in a recent Instagram post. So what's the video all about? Let's get into that now. Due to racism, actor David Júnior says he shaved his hair for many years. David, who is now 38, shaved his hair bald for nearly 3 decades, actually 26 years, saying he wouldn't let it grow because of a racist Brazil that frowned on naturally kinky curly hair, which Brazilians call cabelo crespo. In the video, David is shown in a sped up video in which he shaves his head. Below the video is his commentary on his actions. He says, "For 26 years of my life, I shaved my head. I couldn't see myself any other way, and I made a lot of excuses for not letting my hair grow. I said it hurt my scalp, that it didn't suit me, that the process of letting it grow left my hair shapeless. I created 1,000 reasons to accept what racism instilled in my mind," wrote the actor. "Today, I shaved my head with no strings attached, aware that I love my hair, that it will soon grow back, and best of all, I'm leaving my daughters the positive reference of kinky curly hair," he continued. In the video, the actor's 3-year-old daughter, Amora, here, she also appears and shares her opinion on her father's new look. He asks his daughter, "Is daddy handsome?" David is heard asking his daughter, to which she replies, "No," provoking laughter from the actor himself, as we see in this picture. David also has another daughter with his wife, another 1-year-old girl, another girl who's 1 year old, Odada. So needless to say, there's a whole lot to discuss here. So let's get into this. Okay, so you can see what his daughter looks like. Looks like she has a fluffy type of afro, but she has pretty fair skin there, right? So again, I want to talk about everything that I could cover in terms of what's going on with this video. But before I continue, let's talk about a few other things here just to give this video more context. Just to give this video more context, I got a lot of articles on blackbraziltoday.com that just talk about people's transition into accepting their kinky curly hair. Just to give you an idea, somebody accepting natural cabelo crespo in Brazil, it is kind of a political act because Brazil society, people are ridiculed every day because of the way they wear their hair. Like, how dare you walk around with your hair looking like that? Here's an article from 2021 called Hair Transition. During the quarantine, Black men are letting their hair grow out for the first time. This is what I was saying, how some of these men, this is a prominent Instagram page. He calls his channel Afro Estima. He grew out his hair. So you have a lot of Black men in Brazil growing out their hair for the first time. As I said, I believe it's clear Black women led the charge in the acceptance of kinky curly hair. Afro-Brazilian men no longer shaving their heads to hide their kinks and curls. Okay. A lot of men spoke on this, just the idea of being able to walk around, growing their hair and not feeling shame about it. Brazilian men wearing large afros is a fight for a greater cause. This is from 2020. Just some pictures of some of the men who have let their hair grow out. Some of them have a tighter curl. Some of them have a looser curl. But either way, there's a lot. You could go to YouTube and see all types of Black Brazilians showing how they come up with the hairstyles that they come up with. Some of the people are using some of, the sponges to make the curl in the hair. So this is something that's caught on, particularly in the last decade, last 15 years. It's really common to see a lot of Black people, whether men or women, wearing all types of hairstyles these days. To me, you're a thief with this disgraceful hair. Military police officer assaults a Black youth because he wore an afro. This made headlines a few years ago. Man, you see this cop assaulting this young kid, because he sees this is what I'm saying. Black hair in Brazil, this is another thing where you'll get ridiculed, you'll get attacked, you get made fun of. I did a video a couple months back where popular TV variety show host asked this Black girl on live TV, about her afro, like, did I see some lice in your hair? It's something that you always hear. I've done a couple of videos. It's like, it's sometimes it's unbelievable what people have the nerve to say. They associate lice with Black hair. And a lot of people have pushed back in the comments like, no, it's not Black hair that's associated with lice. But in Brazil, this is something normal that people say when they see people's natural hair. No Black Panthers here. During Brazil's military dictatorship, it was common for police to snatch Black men off the streets with afros and shave their heads. It was like the Brazilian government has always had fear of Black Americans. They saw the civil rights morph into the Black Power movement in the late 60s, early 70s, and they wanted to stop at all costs seeing Black Brazilians imitate what they saw from Black Americans. And this guy, Tony Tornado, this guy right here, who I've featured in a couple of videos, he was like a symbol of the rise of Black consciousness in Brazil with his big afro, his soul music, his appearance, his dance. Brazil's military dictatorship had fear of Tony Tornado. They feared him creating a Black revolution in Brazil. We can't have this big, dark-skinned Black guy with an afro walking around with a Black fist talking about Black pride. They arrested this dude several times to try to shut it down because too many people were coming to accept their Blackness at that time. So then we have this question again of palmitagem. Okay, palmitagem, the accusation that Black men, and later Black men pointed this out about Black women as well, having this adoration of whiteness. Like, okay, I mess around with Black people, but when I want to get serious, I have to have a white partner at my side. I have to produce lighter kids. And Black women started this, but the point is Black men are correct to point out there's a lot of Black women who have the same ideology. So on both sides, you have this idea of palmitagem in Brazil. Interracial love does exist, but some Black people use white people as a social passport to feel more accepted, according to a social influencer. The incredible case of the palmiteiro That's a man who prefers white women for relationships. He doesn't want a commitment, but radically changes his mind when a white woman enters his life. Okay, a couple other things I want to discuss here. This is the video featuring Seu Jorge. It's going to come up in a minute. It says, since Seu Jorge got famous, he's a popular actor and musician. But since he became famous, people have noted that you've never seen Seu Jorge with a black woman. It seems like all of his girlfriends have been white. Have you ever had a relationship with a black woman? In live TV interview, actor Seu Jorge put on the hot seat about his relationships with white women. What else do we have here? Okay, these are more articles just talking about the association with cabello crespo, kinky curly hair, with having bad hair. Black Brazilian women discuss their struggles in a society that rejects natural black hair. Black hair, the problem isn't with curly, it's with nappy, or what they call pichain. Okay. So, hair texture in Brazil is something that I've been talking about for a while. Natural black hair and the politics of resistance. In a Eurocentric Brazil that rejects African features, wearing natural hair is more than just an aesthetic statement. People see it as a political statement. These people talked about what people have said to them. Is that people hair? You have bad hair because you want it. You want it. In a photo campaign, Black university students denounced racist comments about their hair. So Black people hear this type of stuff every day in Brazil. Police investigate racial discrimination in public daycare in nation's capital region. Teacher washed hair of all students except Black girl because she had quote unquote hard hair, what they call cabelo duro in Brazil. Beyond the aesthetic question, kinky curly hair is a symbol of resistance against racism. So this goes on and on. That's why seeing Black people with their natural hair, it is a big deal in Brazil. It's only become more common in these days. But this is one of the reasons that David Júnior felt the need to record the video on him shaving his head. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Hora do Blec, the cartoon I was just talking about, David Júnior and his wife came up with this concept for this cartoon in which a Black boy has a magic pick. Now, not only is he called Black because of his color, but in Brazil, what we call the afro, the hairstyle, the afro, they call it blackie. It's short for Black power. When they saw African Americans in the 1970s wearing big, huge afros, it was in the Black power era. So in Brazil, a lot of people call the afro, they call it a Black power. So short for Black power is just saying Black. Somebody, you saw it in the City of God movie. What did she say? Eu adoro Black. But she was talking about, at that time, a dance that they were going where they were playing Black music. Black people would get together and have these Black dances, what they call Bailes Black. So anything that has something to do with Black culture can be called Black, and they'll use the term in English. But specifically speaking here, they're speaking on the Afro hairstyle, which is called a Black power, or just a Black for short. So this is a cool little cartoon. If you go on TV if you go on YouTube and punch it in, it's called Hora do Blec. Have numerous episodes, some really cute songs. My kids really got hooked on one of the first songs that came out of there. It was called Macarrão do Papai. It was called, Daddy's Spaghetti. I can't wait to get home and have some of Daddy's Spaghetti. So this is a project that was supported by the United Nations, Hora do Blec. This is him. So this is what we have here. This is David Júnior with his wife, Yasmin Garcés, right? They are behind the creation of this YouTube program. And so obviously, we know what David Júnior's wife looks like. So, people have some choice words for what he looked like. This guy, what he had to say on his Instagram channel, which I'm going to get back to in a minute. This was an image of the Blackie character shortly after Chadwick Boseman died. The guy from Black Panther, they paid homage to him. A lot of people in Brazil felt that because Black Panther was such a huge movie in Brazil as it was around the world. Here's another video. This is a video from maybe a month or two ago. This guy is recollecting what people have said to him about his hair when he grew his hair out. Go cut that disgusting hair. The worst things I've ever heard because of having kinky curly hair. So as I'm saying, I have to keep repeating this. Brazilian society has you go back to the slavery era and they have rejected natural kinky curly hair. So this is what actor David Júnior is talking about in his video. But let's get to a couple of other things. As I continue, let's see. So this is his wife, Yasmin. Okay. Another picture with him and his wife. You have him with his wife pregnant. You have him and the child. I guess this is one of the children that they had. So again, it wasn't even a point that I was going to go down this road again, but here it is again. And this is what I've said. I've said this from the beginning, how oftentimes you find Black Brazilians, I'm going to say in general. In the beginning, it was just they were talking about Black Brazilian men. Why does it seem like all of the prominent Black Brazilian men always choose to have long-term relationships with white women, what we call palmitagem? They end up reproducing lighter-skinned children, just as Brazil set in motion with social engineering at the end of the 19th century, promoting miscegenation in Brazil so that Black and brown people eventually disappeared. So it's like, it is amazing to me how often you run into Black Brazilians who have all of this racial consciousness, but yet you'll still find behind all the racial consciousness and slogans and the Black fist and Black this and Black that, you still see the majority of them married to across racial lines. You can never say that all of them are just straight, palmiteiros. You can never say that because you don't know their personal struggle. It seems to me that there is a hierarchy in Brazil, and it just seems a lot of people have argued this to show off their success, the fact that they're in social ascension, they have to go get a white woman. Now, most Black Brazilian men or Black Brazilian women don't really speak on this, but it's just something that you just see all the time. I've done videos on this before. You go back to the video that I just did about the actor Rafael Zulu. All right. Increasingly, you see Black women doing this. Black women will tend to say, look, it's not that I prefer white men. It's just that Black men don't come after me, which may or may not be the case. Like I said, the entire Black population has been indoctrinated with embranquecimento, which means whitening, which says whiten your offspring. So, I don't just point this out just because, okay, why you keep picking on interracial couples? The point here is, if Black Brazilians are really about moving up, if they're really about unity, they're about Black power, you cannot have this if you continue to mix. It's not up to me to decide that. I'm just saying, with the goal being openly pronounced by Brazil's elites at the end of the 19th century, early 20th century, we want Black people to disappear. And this is what you're doing. Anyway, let me get to what people commented about this, because people found out about, everybody doesn't know about David Júnior. They learned about this video because it was posted in another Instagram account. So what did they say? Right here, first comment says, palmiteiros love to be militant. So he says, these people who tend to date and marry and reproduce with white people, they always want to come out with their militancy. Like, is that like a contradiction? Next comment says, interracial couples always awaken the worst in human beings. It's such a beautiful post about self-esteem of having kinky curly hair, but it's full of bitterness in the comments. Okay. This next guy, the next person here says, a Black man can't have a relationship with a white woman, a red woman, or a yellow woman, right? So you think that combating discrimination and intolerance, you think you can do that and then being discriminating and being intolerant? Basically, I don't know if he's speaking to, I think he's speaking to the other comments in the comment section saying, you guys need to get better, mediority, get better. So the next person says, let me see if I can understand this. The guy speaks of Black reference, cabelo crespo, but he married with a branca, a white woman. Beautiful. Seu Jorge sends his regards. So we just talked about Seu Jorge. Okay, that's what he's taking a stab at this guy, because he's saying, look, you talking about Black pride, you and Seu Jorge look like y'all the same type of people. Seu Jorge sends his regards, the same Seu Jorge I was talking about earlier. It says, from here in a few years, she's going to start straightening her hair, and her light skin already helps her, and whitewashing, and, which basically she's saying there. This is a ready-made joke, somebody said. The next person says, a white wife? So this person apparently didn't know that he had a white wife, right? So what do you guys think about this? We have another situation. I mean, I understand what's going on here. This guy wants to have the right to be able to wear his hair the way he wants it. If I want to wear it, in a big afro, a big locks, I can wear that. If I want to shave it and start all over, I can do that again. So some people are seeing a contradiction and saying, okay, you're trying to steal in your daughter a positive reference for having kinky curly hair. But then on the flip side, you're married to a white woman and you have a mixed child. So some people are seeing that as a contradiction. I found it intriguing that he created this cartoon with his wife. And in the cartoon, is a Black family is featured, a Black man with a Black woman. You've got some other people of other races featured in the cartoon. But it's intriguing. Again, it's almost like a lot of Black Brazilians see it, as long as I promote Blackness, Black reference, Black pride, what I do in my personal life, it shouldn't affect, how I feel. I shouldn't be judged by my personal choices in my personal life. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? I'm just kind of curious. This is a video that David Júnior posted on his Instagram channel. And I just wanted to share this because it speaks volumes for everything that I talk about. Um, Definitely drop a comment in the comment section, like this video, share this video, you know, click on the notification bell so that you'll know when I put up another video. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here. Request that you all come back. Check out the next video that I post.